All right, welcome. Today we are looking at the song Old Molly Hare. So this is a really fun, upbeat tune, kind of the opposite of what we did last week with the murder ballads. So it's a lot of fun to play. It's got a happy sound and it allows us to just start to go just a little bit up the neck. This is a sort of non-scary up the neck song. We don't go past like the 7th fret, but it gives us a chance to start to just go up a little bit, right? So the first thing you want to do is download the tab. It'll be the first line of the description. I'll also put a link up there. I point both ways because I don't know which side it's going to be on. One of these days, I'll figure that out. It's going to take a few minutes to hit your inbox, so go do that now, and then by the time this video is over, it'll be waiting for you. So the first thing we're going to want to do is get into tune. So this song is in double C tuning. So if you are in open G tuning, that standard banjo tuning, all you're going to do is you're going to raise your second string a half a step from a B to a C. Then you're going to lower your 4th string from a D to a C. See those 2 C's? That's why it's called double C. So what you're going to end up with is G, C, G, C, D. All right, I'm going to play through Old Molly Hare one time so you know what it sounds like, and then we'll walk through the tab. All right. I feel like that's a really impressive sounding song. It's actually not too bad to play. So let's get right into it. So you're starting out with your index finger on the 5th fret of the 1st string. This is so you can do that hammer on later in that measure. So you're just going to do the basic bum diddy there. So 1, 2, end. And now you're going to hammer on to the 7th fret with your ring finger. 1 and 2, end. So 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. And just try to get that hammer on sort of as loud as you can. Really kind of slam down with your ring finger there and it'll sound great. Now, next measure, you're just going to slide down with your index finger 2 frets. And this is what's kind of cool about this song, right? Like we have these short controlled movements. So we start out on the 5th fret, not too bad because we're starting out there and you're just going to slide down 2 frets. That's not too hard to sort of put into your muscle memory. You can feel and actually kind of count the fret bars here as you go down, and you're not going to miss this too often as you're working on it. And then you actually, that second measure is exactly the same as the first. You're just doing it from the 3rd fret. So I guess not exactly the same. We sort of do that chorded brushstroke in a different place, but it's essentially the same. And look, I'll be honest, like I've tabbed it out this way because that's the way the chords make the most sense. But if you just kind of do that basic bum ditty with the brushstroke wherever it kind of makes sense to you, it'll be fine. No one's going to notice. So we've got our 2 and 3 and 4 and slide down 2. 1, 1, 2 and 3 and 4. And now you're just going to slide down 1 more fret. So now your index finger is going to be planted on the 2nd fret. Basic bum diddy. And now we've got a pull off. Okay, so if you're looking at this pull off, we're going from the 3rd fret to the 2nd fret, right? Your instinct would probably be to use your middle finger on that 3rd fret because you're only 1 fret away. I'll tell you, for me, I get the cleanest pull off here by using my ring finger because I'm kind of using it for these hammer-ons. And now I can just use it here for the pull off as well. I find that I have just a little more leverage. So I have a little less leverage when I use my middle finger here. Sometimes, because of the way those fingers sit next to each other, I'll accidentally kind of pull off the full string or I'll pull the string off the fretboard. So I find I have a little more control if I use my ring finger here. You do what works for you, but I highly encourage you to give that a try. I think it makes this song a whole lot easier to play, right? Okay, so we've got... And we've just got a little drop thumb at the end. 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and. Not too bad, right? Okay, so couple ways you could possibly make this easier. Don't worry about the drop thumb if you aren't comfortable with it. You could just go That'll sound just fine. I guess you don't have to do that pull off in the third measure, so. But I would highly encourage you to play around with that. I think it sounds really good there. So here's what I want to say about tab. This tab represents my particular thoughts about this song on the day I wrote the tab. Am I always going to play the song this way? Absolutely not. It'll change depending on, my mood, whatever, however I feel that day. It's going to sound a bit different, and that's okay. Like, that should be the same for you too. So really, the tab is just a jumping off point for you to learn the song, see how I think about arranging it, and maybe give you some embellishments or some technical tricks to try you might not normally use. That said, like, make the song your own if you can. If you want to simplify, absolutely simplify. If you want to make it harder, go for it, right? That's what it's there for. Like I said, jumping off point. Okay, so I'm going to play through that first line. And luckily, this song is only 2 lines. We're just going to play through that slowly twice. Grab your banjo, play along. Here we go. One thing comes to mind too, I should mention, there's actually kind of one other transition here, and that's when you repeat the line. You're sliding up from your index finger at the 2nd fret here. You're going to slide that back up to the 5th. So you're sliding up 3 frets there. Might take you a little getting used to. I mean, look, I still miss sometimes. I might hit the 4th or the 6th fret. That's okay. You'll hear it as soon as you do it and adjust, but just kind of work on getting that muscle memory. And also feel free to look. Nothing wrong with that. Okay. Line 2. So line 2, I'm kind of doing these fretted alternate string pull-offs here. This is a fun technical trick. I think it makes it sound really good, but it can be a little hard to play, okay? But we're actually going to play them exactly the same way as we played that pull-off in measure 3, where we went from the 3rd fret to the 2nd fret. Except now we're just starting on the open 2nd string. So 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and. So what you're going to do, you're going to fret the 2nd fret of the 1st string with your index finger and the 3rd fret of the 1st string with your ring finger. Now on 1, you're going to strike the open 2nd string, dig your thumb into the 5th as always, and now you're just going to pull off with that ring finger to the 2nd fret of the 1st string. And just continue your bum ditty. 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1. And you're switching that chord right there. That can maybe be a little tricky. All you're going to do is you're going to put your ring finger back down on the 3rd fret and just jump your index finger down to the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. Got it? And remember, this is an embellishment. You don't have to do it. You could always just skip it. And hey, if you want to play this song really fast, which sometimes this song is played very fast, you are probably going to want to simplify like that, right? Nothing wrong with that. Give these pull-offs a try. This is a really good, I find fretted alternate string pull-offs to be kind of challenging. So this is a really good way to practice that skill. Okay? So again, we've got 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and we go back and do it again. And now just a different chord here. So all you're going to do is just jump your index finger down from the 2nd fret of the 1st string to the 2nd fret of the 2nd string. Then we start to do it again. And now we just replace our 3rd finger and do that pull off again. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And now we end it the same way we ended the first line with that little drop thumb. Cool. All right. So I'm going to play through this twice, the 2nd line twice. You can play along with me. I'll play through it slow. And then we'll talk about some sort of different ways we could think about embellishing this song or changing up the feel or whatever, right? Okay. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool, right? Now, we've got a 2-line tab here, right? This could definitely get repetitive if we were just to play this same thing over and over and over again. So some ways you can think about switching it up are always simplifying. I always like simplifying. So you could do, say we look at this first line, right? And I'll go once sort of fancy and then simplify it, and sounds like this. You see how we can use simplification there to actually give the song more life, more vibrancy, because now we're not just sort of playing that same repetitive thing over and over again. Just by knocking out a few notes and keeping it simple, we've actually breathed new life into the song. So I think that's a really good way to do it. You could add syncopation. Whatever sounds good to you, right? The trick here is to experiment. Play through this song. I love Strum Machine. I always recommend that. Go put on Strum Machine. I just put it on never ending repeat and just kind of play around with it and try to do it a little differently each time. You'll crash it sometimes, and that's okay. Like, I crash it too. Once in a while, you're going to hit that happy mistake, right? I think that was like a Bob Ross thing. Didn't he always talk about those happy little mistakes or whatever, where, you get a smudge of paint and all of a sudden you can turn it into a cool looking tree. Same thing with the banjo, right? Maybe that's my trajectory. Maybe I'm going to be the Bob Ross of banjo. I don't know. But the idea, though, is that you're going to experiment. You're going to play around. You're going to have fun. And sometimes you're going to be like, whoa, what did I just do? That sounded great. And that's what you seize on. You try to repeat that. Try to figure out what you just did. You're not always going to be able to, but take those little accidents, those happy little accidents, and make them into something fresh. Use them to turn the song into your own version of Old Molly Hare. Okay, that's going to do it. I will see you next week. I got some exciting stuff coming next week, actually. We're going to really be starting to dive into right hand technique. So I think that'll be really fun. I'll see you then. All right.